What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here to talk to you about Star Wars Clone Wars Volume 2. This is the rest of the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars series from around 2003. It came out in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. And I read somewhere, I don't know if this is true, that originally the plan was to end with Volume 1, where we see General Grievous and he has cornered several Jedi and has killed a few of them, and then that was going to be the end of this Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars series. And then the legend I heard is that one of George Lucas's children said, "What happens next?" And so Lucas said, "Okay, I guess we can show what happens next and do a little bit more Clone Wars stuff." And hence this came out. And I did not especially like Volume 1, but I really like Volume 2. This is much better than the previous volume. Everything I disliked about Volume 1, this addresses and does a lot better. The big problem I had, really the two big problems I had with Volume 1 was that I didn't feel like we got to know any of the characters because we had like 7 different subplots happening in an hour. And so we get to spend a lot of time watching Kit Fisto do some cool stuff underwater. Mace Windu is on a desert world fighting robots. Yoda goes to this snow planet where there's kyber crystals to save a couple of other Jedi. There's a lot of that going on, and we don't get to know these characters. And because there are so many disparate subplots, the whole thing feels incredibly episodic, which it was. It started as a series of these short little adventures, and then it was stitched together and presented kind of like a movie. This does a much better job of reining in the focus on Anakin and Obi-Wan. We get to see them doing some stuff together, and then we actually get to see their friendship a little bit. This is the first time that I have ever seen Anakin and Obi-Wan presented as friends. There is one brief moment in Revenge of the Sith where they're talking like, "Hey, remember that time we did that one thing? Haha, wasn't that fun?" This gives us more of that, and it feels genuine because we don't have a whole lot of Anakin whining about how Obi-Wan doesn't trust me, he never listens, blah, you're not my real father. We don't have a whole lot of that. There is one kind of moment of confrontation here where Anakin says, "You are no Qui-Gon Jinn." And it feels kind of genuine here. It doesn't feel like they're just throwing it in there so that Anakin can have a dark side that will be exploited later. These characters feel much more real to me here than they did in Volume 1. And that is partly because we are spending a lot more time with Anakin and Obi-Wan here. Pretty much we only have 2 subplots in this movie, whereas we had like 7 things going on in the first one. In this, we have Mace Windu and Yoda. They're fighting some robots a little bit while General Grievous is trying to kidnap Chancellor Palpatine, and that leads directly into Episode 3. And so this kind of ends on a cliffhanger, but it's intended to lead directly into Revenge of the Sith. So we have that going on, and then we have Anakin and Obi-Wan. They actually have 2 adventures in this hour-long story. There's one adventure where they are on some rainy planet, and Anakin, he's eating bugs at one point, and he's like, "Come on, Master, they're not that bad." And Obi-Wan's like, "Ooh, that's gross." And that was where I thought, hey, they're acting like they're friends with each other. Anakin doesn't look like a weird creep here. This is good. I wish we had more of Anakin presented like this, so that if you showed the prequels to somebody who somehow does not know that Anakin Skywalker becomes Darth Vader, they could actually be surprised that this guy does succumb to the dark side, instead of being like, "Oh yeah, that guy's clearly going to become evil." I like getting to see these two having fun, having adventures like this. So they're on one world where they turn off a force field thing. We get to see Anakin kind of cool under fire, and then they go to another world, and then Anakin basically has to do the thing that Luke Skywalker does in Empire Strikes Back, where he has to look in on himself and see what he doesn't want to see, kind of like what Luke did, and I like it. Anakin gets to see this thing on a wall. It's like a cave painting, and it kind of mirrors his eventual destination of becoming Darth Vader, and he doesn't like that. And I think all of this is great. If somebody asked me what is my favorite Star Wars prequel, I would point to this. That's probably not what they're looking for, but I think this is the best pre-New Hope thing that I have seen. I've dabbled here and there in some of the other prequel stuff. I think this is the best. I wish that this was a little longer. I wish that this was still considered canon. Of course, that doesn't bother me as much as it bothers other people. I watched this more than I watched the canon canon Clone Wars series, but I really like this. I don't know why it is no longer considered canon by Disney, but apparently a few years ago they released an official timeline, and this was not part of their official canon timeline. But you can watch this and you could still really enjoy yourself, and I don't know every nook and cranny of the Star Wars canon timeline, but you could probably take the events of this and piece them in and around the other Clone Wars series, and it wouldn't contradict too much stuff if I had to guess. But I really like this. I wish that the other one was this good. I mentioned in my video on Volume 1 that I had watched Volume 1 many years ago and was really disappointed. I don't think I ever got around to watching this one years ago. I only first watched this one less than a year ago, I want to say. I watched it again today, and I think it still holds up very well. As far as I know, it is on Disney Plus right now. I think you could skip all of Volume 1. I don't know how it's presented on Disney Plus. I think you could pretty easily skip Volume 1 and just watch this. This has got some great Anakin Skywalker stuff. This is probably the best that he's ever been presented, in my opinion. So those are my thoughts on Star Wars Clone Wars Volume 2. I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you guys in the future with some other videos. In the meantime, have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.